Nolan Wells audio distress call. Is it real? Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Everyone in the background is saying, "Is he dead? Nolan, wake the up."
Claiming they're sinking and calling for help. And yet, in the background, are we really hearing all of this other activity?
Nobody has ever, none of the kids on this boat have ever admitted that anybody said that they thought Nolan was dead.
SeaTow assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir.
I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag on
Unless you
here.
have a membership number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at.
You are hearing the audio distress call from the boat. That is the boat on which Nolan Wells went to Horn Island. Now, there have been a lot of different accounts about whether he was on the boat when he came back from Horn Island, when he was supposed to come back from Horn Island. He never came back from Horn Island. And you can clearly hear on that version, which we obtained from the Mississippi Department of Marine Research. They released it. It's not something off TikTok or Insta. And that's what you hear. Let me hear 184 one more time, please.
SeaTow assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can you all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right. So I want to be clear with this one thing, because I know you mentioned before. Is there any chance or any knowledge that you have that anybody deleted stuff from his phone?
The last time anyone in that group saw Nolan Wells alive, he was standing on the beach at Horn Island with his arms around a girl named Katie. A friend on the departing boat yelled for him to get on. Not once, multiple times. According to that friend, Nolan looked back, shook his head, and said no. He said he was going to ride back with somebody else. The boat left, and Nolan Wells never came home. That is the account the friends gave. What has surfaced since then? Witnesses, GPS data, a Marine Patrol email, and subpoenas now targeting multiple tech companies is forcing every piece of that account to be tested against something harder to reshape than a person's memory. Here is where this case actually stands, based only on what has been confirmed, sourced, or placed on the record. The SeaTow call has been released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. This is not a clip from social media, not an enhanced version processed by a content creator. The raw recording obtained through official records request. On that call, a teenager on the boat tells dispatcher Vicky the bilge pump has stopped working and the vessel is sinking. The conversation is chaotic. The caller cannot provide the membership account number. He says they are going down. He asks SeaTow to come. Dispatcher Vicky transfers him to a local captain named Seth. Before any assistance is rendered, the boat's registered owner, Jerry Atkinson, has already called Seth separately and told him the situation is under control, that the group no longer needs help. SeaTow stands down. The call ends. What the GPS data shows is something the caller's words do not match. The boat did not leave Horn Island until approximately 4:30 in the afternoon, roughly 30 minutes after that emergency call went out. Investigators have said plainly that if the story told by those on board does not match what the GPS recorded, that is a problem. And the GPS places the vessel still in very close proximity to the island when that call was made, surrounded, according to one account, by hundreds of other boats full of people who were there that same holiday afternoon. If something dramatic had been happening on that vessel in that location, the question of why no one on the surrounding boats saw or heard anything becomes its own significant gap. Now to the most specific first-hand account given publicly so far. Warren Hudson, one of Nolan's friends who was on the boat, spoke in detail and on the record about those final minutes on the island. Hudson says the last time he personally saw Nolan was around 3 in the afternoon. Nolan was with Katie, laughing, relaxed. When the boat was preparing to leave, Hudson says a friend called out for Nolan to get on board, not once. His exact account is that his friend asked Nolan multiple times, "Get on the boat. We're leaving. If you're coming, you have to come now." Hudson says Nolan responded directly. He said no. He said he was staying. He said he would ride back with someone else. Hudson says riding back on a different boat than you arrived on is common at Horn Island, that he could name 50 people who did exactly that on any given day out there. But there is something sitting alongside Hudson's account that adds a layer he did not provide. A text message. The night after Nolan's disappearance, when the group was trying to reach anyone who had been with him, someone contacted Katie. Katie responded. And in that message, according to a source with knowledge of its contents, she confirmed what Hudson described, that the last time she saw Nolan was when his friend was yelling at him to get on the boat, that she witnessed Nolan say he was staying, that she never saw him get on that vessel. If that text is what it has been described as, it is the closest thing to an independent corroboration of the friend's account that has surfaced in this case. And yet, at least 2 witnesses have now reportedly told investigators something that cuts directly against the idea that what happened to Nolan after the boat left was a straightforward choice that simply went wrong. Those witnesses say they saw Nolan still standing on Horn Island after the boat had already departed. If that is verified, it means he was alive on that island after the boat left. It does not tell us what happened after that, but it removes the ambiguity about whether he was on that vessel during the SeaTow call and places him, confirmed by multiple people, on the island after it was gone. Then there is the Marine Patrol email. A document has surfaced in which Nolan's alcohol intake that day is described as heavy. That word, heavy, is now in the official record of this investigation. It will have to be accounted for once toxicology results from the first autopsy are released. But here is what is equally part of the record. Nolan was not the only person on that island that day who was drinking. Every person on that boat was under 21 years old except for one individual. Photos from that day show other members of the group with drinks in their hands. The question of who purchased the alcohol for a group of underage teenagers out on the water on the 4th of July is one that has not been answered publicly. And the point made plainly by people following this case is straightforward. If alcohol is going to be offered as a contributing explanation for what happened to Nolan, then everyone present who was drinking deserves the same level of scrutiny, not just the person who did not come home. The legal team representing the Wells family has now filed subpoenas targeting multiple technology companies, seeking to preserve social media records and phone data connected to this case. That is a significant escalation. Subpoenas aimed at tech platforms are not filed to recover a deleted Instagram post. They are filed when attorneys believe relevant communications exist on those platforms that someone may have an interest in making disappear. The family's team is not waiting for investigators to pull that data. They are moving legally to make sure it cannot be lost before anyone can look at it. Multiple people connected to this case have retained private attorneys. That fact has been reported publicly. The decision to lawyer up is a legal right that says nothing by itself about guilt or knowledge. But in a case where investigators have interviewed approximately 60 witnesses and are still reconstructing what happened hour by hour on that island, the fact that several people close to these events are now speaking only through counsel is something the public record reflects. There is one more detail that has drawn significant attention and has not been adequately explained. When the tip line connected to this investigation was set up, reports indicate that calls were being routed to the office of Chancery Court Judge Ashley Cole, rather than directly to the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. Judge Cole is the stepmother of one of the teenagers who was on the boat with Nolan. How a tip line intended to gather information from the public about a young man's death was routed in a way that passed through the household of someone connected to the people under scrutiny is a question that has not been answered by any official source. The state's autopsy is reportedly complete. Its results have not been released to the public. They have not been released to the family. District Attorney Angel Myers has confirmed they will go to a grand jury before anyone outside the investigation sees them. That process has no set timeline. The independent autopsy conducted by Dr. Roger Mitchell came back with cause and manner of death listed as undetermined. Undetermined because by the time Mitchell received the body, the lungs and the throat had already been removed during the first examination and were not sent with the body. The lungs and the throat are two of the most critical pieces of tissue in any case where drowning or strangulation is a question. Without them, Mitchell could not confirm or rule out either. He identified an area of red discoloration in the deep, soft tissue at the back of Nolan's head. He could not determine whether that was a result of decomposition, pressure from the first autopsy procedure, or something else entirely. Without microscopic analysis of the tissue, no one can say definitively which it is. Board-certified forensic pathologist Dr. Judy Melanick, who has no connection to this case, has explained the medical reality of what undetermined actually means here. Drowning, she said, is a diagnosis of exclusion. You do not write it on a death certificate simply because a body was found in water. You rule out everything else first. A body found in water could represent a genuine drowning. It could also represent a death from another cause entirely, with the water being where the body ended up afterward. The two can look identical in a decomposed body without the specific tissue necessary to tell them apart. That tissue was retained by the state. Mitchell did not have it, and what the state found in it is sitting inside a sealed report that the public has not seen. Dr. Mitchell himself said something publicly that every person following this case needs to hold on to. Saying Nolan drowned does not tell you what happened to him. Even if drowning is ultimately confirmed as the technical cause of death, the questions that actually matter remain completely open. Was he conscious when he entered the water or unconscious? Was he alone? Was it his choice? The answer to those questions does not come from a cause of death classification. It comes from the investigation itself, from what 60 witnesses say, from what the GPS recorded, from what the subpoenaed phone and social media records contain, from what the joint forensic review of multiple phones produces when it finally happens. Governor Tate Reeves has publicly called Ben Crump a bold-faced liar over claims made in this case. Crump addressed that at the National Urban League Convention alongside Nolan's parents and said it was a distraction, that his team's focus was on the truth, not on responding to people trying to redirect attention away from unanswered questions. He said plainly that he and everyone on his legal team stand for the truth no matter who it implicates and no matter who it exonerates, that he is not casting blame on any individual. He is asking for a full, fair, transparent investigation. Christine Wansley, Nolan's mother, has made one consistent ask since the night her son did not come home. Treat this case the way you would treat it if it were your own child. 60 witnesses interviewed, 2 autopsies with no final conclusion, a sealed state report, subpoenas filed, a grand jury with no timeline, a joint phone review not yet completed, a tip line that routed calls through the wrong office, GPS data that does not fully match the account given, and a Marine Patrol email describing her son's alcohol use while everyone else who was drinking that day avoids the same level of scrutiny. Nolan Xavier Wells was 18 years old. He was standing on a beach on the 4th of July, arms around a girl he had just met, shaking his head and laughing when a friend told him to get on the boat. Every person who has spoken publicly agrees on that image. What nobody can yet fully account for is everything that happened after the boat pulled away and left him there. And until every piece of this case has been genuinely examined, the phones, the tissue, the records, the witnesses, the tide, the audio, that question is not going to go away.
Katie
His
was
mother is
standing
not
right
going
there.
to let it,
She watched
and the
it
evidence
happen.
is not
And the
cooperating
next
with
day, she
anyone who
texted
wants
one
it
of the
to.
friends